as I said, and I get a lot of hate for this. Like, I'm not one of those people who's like Brie Larson is a terrible actress and she's the worst person ever. Blah 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 blah. Like, I've seen the movie Room, which I definitely recommend to watch. It might be on Netflix. She's good in it. The child actor in it, and I'm not a fan of child actors. I think they're notorious for being bad. Is also really good in it. And it's one of the more tense movies that I've seen in a long time. And she probably should have won Best Picture over Spotlight, like, if I'm just being honest. But obviously Captain Marvel, she's like lacking charisma. And like, she might be like a type actress. Like if she plays a certain character type, then she's all right. But if she deviates from that type, then she's not. So, somebody says I can't wait for her to get her own late night show. Yeah, in her intro video, she of course like reached out to a bunch of YouTubers, her friends on YouTube and people she was a fan of, and they gave her advice on how to YouTube, and it's like the most corporate friendly, safe YouTubers humanly possible. But that's neither here nor there. Because today we are going over a very important conversation with Justina Omoku. Now, I've watched the first 3 minutes of this already, and so that is enough to dislike this video. So it's getting a dislike. So everybody has to deal with that. But if I'm ready to watch this cringe, if you guys are ready to get on board with this cringe. Everybody good? Press 1 if you're ready for the cringe injected into your blood. Somebody's like, turn it off. Nope. This is what we're doing. We're committed to this. All right. Everybody's ready for it to be pumped in their blood. So, all right. You guys asked for it.
Introduce yourself, please. I would love for you to introduce yourself.
Oh, wait. I forgot the headphones. I always got to put in headphones because, her volume is obnoxious. Look at how excited she is. Oh, my God, Brie Larson. You are such a good ally. I just want to say that to you right away. All right. Introduce yourself.
Yourself how you would like to be introduced.
Okay, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Hi, everyone. My name is Justina Omakwa. I am a beautiful Black woman, and I am
I'm a kind person, and I don't insult women based on their appearance, but there may be some disputes to be made out there in the internet land with her introduction of herself. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. Like,
here chatting with my new bestie, Brie Larson.
oh my God, they're besties, guys. Oh, wow. A minority thinks Brie Larson's her bestie. Look at her celebrate. She's got a dance, guys. I love the cuts to Brie Larson in her videos. Like, they are so lacking all brands of authenticity. Like if I try to pass this off, like, I'm controlling this right now. So I could do full screen me, full screen video, this kind of split screen, this kind of split screen. Now imagine like I'm pretending like these are organic reactions but even though in editing, I'm highlighting which portions of me I want to be seen. Like, God. Somebody said she's prettier than Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama's not. Like, you're wrong. Michelle Obama is prettier than this woman. I'm sorry. Like, come on, guys. Let's be reasonable. Michelle Obama's like 50-something years old, and she's more attractive than this woman. Not that we judge people by their attractiveness, because we're progressive here.
Hello, everyone. This is
whoa. I forgot about this. See, what I love about this, okay. So Brie Larson is like YouTubing, right? Like this is her YouTube channel. But like there's no reason for Brie Larson to YouTube other than a PR thing, right? But part of like your PR advice tells you that one of the things people really like about YouTube is like the authentic vibe, right? So you could see throughout the course of her channel, her try to imitate certain things that YouTubers do. But like what she doesn't realize is that, yeah, for family vloggers, they like the people kind of like when you're in a scene and then you cut back to the person that's like the family vlogger monologuing about what's happening. But that's like not real. And like we understand that's not real. And that's like a YouTuber style that we're watching being manufactured by Brie Larson right now. So like this cut where she's introducing it, it's like cringy and unnecessary, and the camera's way too close to her face. Like, no, Brie, bad.
My shaky intro. So I was part of this campaign.
See, it's cool because she says it's her cheeky intro, so that makes it authentic because she's calling out that she's doing the YouTube thing. Like, one of the things about her moving to YouTube is that it's like actually unbelievably offensive to YouTubers. Like, if you're the type to get offended, or like if you take any of this kind of work, like working on YouTube seriously, because she's just like, oh, this is the thing that the idiot YouTubers do. I'm going to do it because I'm Brie Larson. Yeah, I agree. She's way too close. I do not need to be that much in your face, Brie. Like, calm down. Like, stop it. Bad.
Hashtag share the mic now on Instagram. I think it was a couple months ago. I was partnered up with this woman named
Virtue.
Justina. She is absolutely incredible and has become a huge, powerful force in my life. We have committed to continuing our conversations. We do them offline, but we thought it might be nice to film one of our conversations. So here you are. Here it is. Much love. Bye.
Oh, YouTubers blow a kiss goodbye, guys. That's the thing that the YouTubers do. Didn't you know that? That's what YouTubers do. They blow a kiss goodbye. They go, mwah. That's what I do every one of my videos. So that's authenticity right there. I'm going to just start doing that. I'm going to introduce the topic, with the camera like right in front of my freaking face, like zoomed in right in on my face. And then I'm going to say bye at the end of it. Go, Also, like she's saying, oh, like this is like I participated in this campaign. That's like not a big deal. Pass the mic, like where you pass the mic to women of color because they need the mic. Like that's the point of the campaign. And she's just become such a big part of my life. Like I don't even think about what I'm doing without her. And it's just amazing. I mean, the date of the campaign was June 10th, and that's like a little over a month ago, but like she's like family. Like I would have her over for Thanksgiving if Thanksgiving wasn't racist. Like that's how I feel about this woman. But like it's called Pass the Mic. Like the whole point of the Pass the Mic campaign, like what I can glean from it is so that you do stuff like this. So she's like, I was assigned this woman to lecture me about being white and rich, and so I could give her a platform. And I'm giving her a platform because I was assigned this person. But I love her, and she says she's my bestie. I mean, we'll never hang out anywhere important. Like, never, ever. And, like, if she told me to leave Captain Marvel and leave all that money on the table, I definitely wouldn't do it. But it's very important that I platform her voice right now. Just so you know.
So, for those that don't know how we met, I guess we should start with that.
Yes. I mean, I feel like I've known you much longer. I think it's been about 2 months there, give or take a little bit.
It's literally been less than 2 months, but you're guessing because you don't know when Brie was. These were all recorded in advance. If you go to Brie Larson's channel, her end card links up to the next video, which is a private video, which means that they uploaded these videos right away, right? So the campaign was June 10th of this year, right? So they're estimating that the date that it's going to be released might be somewhere between 1 and 2 months. That's why she's like, I've known you for 2 months. They literally recorded this like 8 days after they met. Also, you could tell that there's no confidence in the content just by the music that's playing throughout all of these videos. It's like, oh, it's exciting. It's exciting. The music is telling you that this is exciting and engaging content. But yeah, so if you go to her first channel, the next video on there is the video before this one, which came out last week, which would have been closer to 1 month after the campaign where they supposedly met. And then this video is queued up. So this video was already uploaded then. So this like 2 months is literally them guessing. So everything about this is fake is what I'm trying to say. Everything about this is fake. Like beyond bounds of reason, everything about this is fake. Like when I have guests on my live show, when I would do live streams on YouTube and I'd have a guest, like Nuance Road, that was literally the 15 minutes before the live stream was the first time I ever spoke to him verbally. When I had Devin Tracy on, the 5 to 10 minutes before the live stream was the first time I ever spoke to him personally. When I had Lauren Chen on, that was the second time I ever spoke to her personally, and that's because I met her at the Minds IRL thing. Like, so like that's like an authentic, like when you try to figure each other out and like get the thing before the stream, that's like an authentic thing. This is staged. They're calling each other besties. They're like, "Oh, I love you. You've changed my life ever since I met you, and we agreed to do this contractually, probably because I want to seem virtuous." It's total nonsense. 100% from the jump. Like, you're so authentic. I literally tell people I'm not. Like, leave me alone. Like I make content on YouTube. I make it to be engaging. Like, you know, I don't make it to be like I'm the realest, most virtuous person of all time. Like Brie Larson, our favorite.
Essentially, we were both part of, I guess we can call it an inauguration, the inaugural Share the Mic. And essentially, we were two strangers that were paired together. The premise of the initial campaign was for white women of prominence to share their mic with lesser known Black women. And Brie and I happen to be partnered together. It feels good to be able to have someone to talk to about what's going on in the world, to be able to speak freely, to have open dialogue, and to, you know, to kind of pressure test all of the things that are happening.
There's just so much going on in the world right now.
There's so much going on in the world right now, guys. She said going on in the world. I said going on in the world. Like, I wonder how much of this video is going to be this. Like, them literally saying nothing, but Brie, like, regurgitating what she said right after. Like, the nothing point that she said, it's just going to be Brie. You know, this is ridiculous. By the way, they would never... Like, Brie Larson is only partnering with this woman because she's speaking progressive values and she's, like, alleviating her white guilt by attacking her a little bit. Right? She's like, "Oh, you're going to make mistakes, Brie. Like, you don't know everything because you're white and disgusting. But we don't talk about that. That's how I feel about you. You just have to listen to me." Like, and they're best friends, by the way. I just want you to know. That's why they're like literally saying nothing.
So much coming to the surface, and it's just been incredibly, I just feel so grateful to know you and to be able to have had the conversations that we've had through this time. It's just, I love your mind so much. I love your heart. We just wanted to continue, for those watching,
I love your mind and I love your heart. Like, Brie is talking like, if you ever see a guy that's in a bad relationship and he doesn't, like, you know, he's definitely not into the relationship, and the girl asks, like, "What do you love about me?" and he says, like, the most generic stuff possible. That's Brie Larson right now. Like, that's what's going on. Like, I love your mind and I love your heart, and I'm so grateful that we've had these conversations that we've had. You know, we're probably filming this June 18th. I'm so grateful I met you 8 days ago. It's really changed my life. Like, honestly. Somebody says she identifies as a beautiful Black woman. It's pretty funny, honestly. Yeah, so grateful, guys. It's changed my life. Also, I'm playing this music because even though I'm grateful for the conversations that we've had, even my editors know for a fact that this conversation is not interesting, so we have to put music in the background to give this conversation some sense of momentum. But also, we're not going to pay for any music, so we're just going to play generic, free-to-use music in the background, because that's what YouTube beauty vloggers do, I think. I'm Brie. Wait, I need to get my re up. There we go. That's better.
Wanted to continue the conversation. That's just the simple thing. There's so much to read, to watch, to do. There's a lot happening on the internet, and there's a lot of ways to educate oneself. But there's also this, and I think we want to share the conversations that we've been having and how we're kind of going about them and finding common ground together, because normalizing conversations about.
She said she said conversations 8 times that I can count, and I probably started counting late. Like I'm so glad for the conversations that we've had, and I'm really grateful for the conversations that we had. And I think it's important that we share our conversations that we're having so we can normalize conversations, because there's a lot of conversations on the internet, and these conversations really matter. The freaking title of this is a very important conversation. Literally not true. Like nothing, like no conversation that Brie Larson has ever had with another human being has been important. No conversation that this person, even though her name's right there, I'm going to call her this person, has ever had with another human being have ever been important. It's just a fact. Just rambling and whinging and nonsensical. But we're going to normalize this conversation, guys.
Race is also very, very important.
Well, let's start out with, like, how are you feeling? What's been going on in your world?
So the honest answer is I feel inadequate a lot of the time. I feel anxiety sometimes. I feel very scared of hurting someone. And yet I recognize that those feelings that I have can actually stop me from doing the very thing that is what's needed to propel this movement and this new world that we're trying to step into together to move forward.
Look, Brie Larson is anxious. She's afraid of hurting people's feelings, and she feels like her anxiety is preventing her from propelling this new world order forward. And she's really, like, I mean, honestly, like, her feelings, like, you should be very sensitive to people's mental health unless you're a Huite, and then your mental health doesn't matter. And yeah, and I feel like my anxiety, and honestly, it's preventing the world from being saved. And if I would just get over my stupid anxiety, like, I would propel the new world going forward. Like, I wonder if we're gonna get a right side of history in this conversation. Anybody want to take bets on that? How about a 1 for the mention of be on the right side of histories in this conversation, and 2 for that won't get mentioned? What do you got? Come on, I'm waiting for your bets right now. I'm looking at the chat. I'm trying to get there's an informal poll, and if somebody tells me I can do polls on Twitch, then I don't like you. 3 and 7, nice. So 1 for right side of history, 2 for none. Okay, 1, 2. Very good, very good. I've learned through this informal poll that I have people in my chat that just don't like me. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. I really did wait for that to play the video. I appreciate you guys paying attention.
Look, I think in this time, offering one another grace.
Is there like a rule that if you're in this, like if you're in one of these Brie Larson videos, because they think like production of non-Hollywood stuff has to be crappy, that you have to be so blown out? Like, look at how bright this light is in the camera. Like, why? Like, just put some put a shade over that. Like, what are you doing? Diffuse some of that light. It's so freaking blown out. Jesus Christ. Like, are they trying to do like an angelic look? Like, it's like faux. The thing is like her face is perfectly in color. So is her thing. Like, so they just decided to shoot against this blown out area. There's like no issue with the lighting or anything like that. Like, that's a choice, and it's bothering me. Like, if you have bad videos that are blown out, but it's like, you actually don't have money and you don't have the budget, I'm fine with that. But this is like a choice. Like, they're like trying to make this seem more natural when it isn't.
Is truly important. I mean, I learned from you because you offer a perspective that I will never have.
I will never be a successful Hollywood actress, like, because I'm a grifter. You offer a perspective from a successful Hollywood actress who feels a lot of guilt.
And I think that it's important that we recognize that. And there are going to be missteps. And I think that you have to be okay with essentially being honest to say, hey, I misstepped here. I wasn't aware. Of course, be cautious, but not to the point that it paralyzes.
Oh my God, this graphic's so terrible. Be cautious, but not to the point that it paralyzes you. So basically, step in, do what we want. We're going to shame you for being wrong because you will be wrong because what your existence is wrong, Brie. Like, racism. But just because we're going to shame you and we're going to hit you with a bat as soon as you walk out to be on our side, that doesn't mean you should stop bending the knee. Just because every time you bend the knee, you're going to get slapped across the face, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't still do it. Brie, come on. Like, we need you. I mean, we don't need you because we could do this movement without you, honestly. But, like, we need you to raise your voice. And if you think that we need you, even though we're saying that we need you, that's white supremacy. But we also don't need you. But we do need you. And if you don't step forward, you're part of the problem. But also, you should kind of give your platform to women of color, because if you speak for them, then you're part of the problem. But also, silence is violence. And if you commit silence, you're part of the problem. But also, like, don't center yourself and center your feelings, because that makes you a part of the problem. Sorry, it's just a little ridiculous. I can't help but laugh at some of this stuff. Like, honestly, like, what can you do except for laugh? So this is about where I made it in 3 to 4 minutes into this video.
I think right now what we're seeing is this need to solve. And nobody is a subject matter expert in this space, no one. And we're all going to make missteps, you know what I mean? And so I think continuing to be a nice person, we cannot overlook that. We can't overlook what we're doing right now is having conversations.
Oh my God, more conversations. So we're 4 minutes in and they haven't said anything. They're like, the subject matter, nobody's an expert in it, but I'm glad you're giving up your platform for me, the expert, because no one's an expert in it, but we can't solve it and we can't really talk about solving it. We just need to listen and blah, blah, blah. Like 4 minutes in and I don't have anything. We're like a fourth into this video. Nothing. But to play that stock music, Brie, like, keep cranking that out there.
Because that's important. What we've done in the past generally is just kind of, oh, it's an uncomfortable conversation. I don't want to talk about it. I kind of know it happens, but it's taboo. And we need to remove that feeling, right? It's like, it's not taboo. It's real. It happens. Let's talk about the things that happen and let's talk about a way forward.
I think I feel the pull. We talked about this. It's like I was getting so burnt out because I was putting a lot of pressure on myself because I'm a white woman with privilege. Through some introspection, I was able to see that if what I want is peace.
Is she starting to cry? Oh my God, Brie Larson, stop. No. First of all, like, this is such a self-aggrandizing, like, effort. Like, she's bringing on some woman to whine about how, like, she was feeling a lot of pressure because she's a white woman of privilege and she doesn't know how to deal with the oppression of the riffraff. So she really needs to do this. Like, Brie, like, what? This is so obnoxious. Jesus Christ. You want to talk about, like, a white savior complex? Like, holy crap. Like, Jesus. Or Reezus Christ. Because it's Brie Larson. Oh my God. I almost want to throw up. Stop. If she starts crying, I'm going to lose my mind.
I have to feel peace within myself. And it doesn't take so much
God.
for me to get there. And I'm of way more use to the movement when I am fully embodying myself moving forward.
The secret is to just be yourself. And I'm way more useful to the movement when I'm being my best self. So honestly, self-care is basically like civil rights. Like, me promoting myself and becoming more confident in myself is like a sit-in at a lunch counter. I'm essentially Rosa Parks because, like, I'm so much usefuler to the movement when I feel better about myself, guys. Like, really, like sitting on the bus in the part that I wasn't supposed to protest an unjustified law. That's like a quarter of what Brie Larson can do when Brie's being Brie. Like that's what I'm trying to say. So like, I just need to center myself and I can solve this. Did you see Captain Marvel? My best friend in that movie was a black woman. That's me, Brie Larson.
I think there's also, look, there are pressures for, I'm going to speak to myself. There are pressures for me, right? Because now everybody wants to have the conversation. And some days I don't feel like talking, right? Some days I'm tired. Some days
some days I don't feel like talking. You literally have nothing to say. We're almost 6 minutes into this and you're talking about the conversation, how we have to have the conversation. So you're basically like, it's a pass the mic campaign. So give the microphone to a black woman if you're a white woman with the platform, right? That's the whole game here, all right? Because you need a platform, a less famous black person. All right, like if you're trying to get their perspective, honestly, it's neither here nor there. If that's what you want to do, not going to hate you for that. I think it's weird. I think, basing everything on race leads to problems like racism, but whatever. But you're talking about how like everybody wants to have the conversation and like we're having this conversation. It's important to have this conversation. But now she's doing the thing where she's like, but you shouldn't just expect somebody to have the conversation and teach you. You should go learn about it on your own. Like that's where we're going with this. But that's what's happening.
exhausted. There are days that I don't want to hear about white guilt. I'm just like, keep that to yourself. You know what I mean? That's not my problem. And other days I'm like, okay, yeah, tell me more about how you're feeling. Really? Like, I want you to own that. I want you to feel that because I've had bad days my entire life. Right. And so again, I think it is just so complicated. But I think, again, it's like we are humans with feelings, right? And so some days are going to be good days and you're going to feel like, oh my God, I've made progress. And other days you're going to be like, I hate it here.
Wow. 6 minutes in, over a third into the video, and we've gotten to the point where humans have feelings. And some days you're going to feel like some way. But other days you might feel another way. And also humans have feelings. Like this is what the conversation is. The important conversation. The very important conversation according to Miss Brie Larson. Look at the title. Very important conversation. And 6 minutes in, I've learned nothing. I've learned that, she's had a lot of bad days. I can tell. And sometimes she doesn't want to hear about white guilt, which I can relate to. I can sympathize with that. I can empathize with that. Like, I'm tired of hearing and seeing people exercise their white guilt, 100%. So I'm totally on board with that. Like, me and her copacetic here. We're making progress. Some days I don't like to have these conversations, but other days I do. And this is one of those days where I'm like, we're making a lot of progress. Yeah, but that's what we learned. We're humans. Like, I don't know if you know this, we're humans and humans have feelings. And yeah. That's what we're doing. Somebody's like, don't worry, I'll be your friend of color. I'll be your friend of color person in the comments. I'm half Hispanic. Check your privilege. I'm a day walker.
And I think if we acknowledge the difficulty.
Okay, I don't know this for sure, but they've cut to that shot of Brie Larson with her half smile, like nodding, twice now. Like, I'm pretty sure that's the same shot. So they're recycling her reactions to her, which I'm totally fine with because, like, you can't use all the shots of Brie Larson like any normal person falling asleep when this woman's talking.
It makes it that much easier to navigate through life and know that you will have your days where you're like, there's nothing I can do. Or, you know what, I'm tired. Or I'm afraid because, social media and all that comes with it is heavy. And I think you have to, you cannot put undue pressure on yourself. You have to do what you feel comfortable doing.
You have to do what you feel comfortable doing, but you need to get out of your comfort zone and have these conversations. And again, some days you're going to feel like you want to do it, and some days you don't. Like they're not saying anything. Can I reiterate this point? Like, you guys are trying to get, like, I promised you a reaction to the things that they're saying. They're saying nothing. Nothing is being said. Like, we are 7+ minutes into this. There's only 10 minutes left. I'm waiting for the very important part of this conversation. It's very important, guys. What I don't understand is why Brie Larson, who is trying to be a faux YouTuber, didn't all caps the very part. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's like nothing here. And like the weird, like, you know, if you're talking on a webcam, like looking at people when they're talking to you is respectful. Brie's like looking to her left to her cue cards. And this woman's like looking just miserable. Like, even her, she's like, oh, I'm going to interact with a celebrity and I'm going to get platformed. And it's like, even she's like, oh, I can't believe I'm doing this Brie Larson video and I have to lie about it. Like, come on. They're very close friends, guys. This woman changed Brie Larson's life. I don't know how, because they've just talked about how it's important to have the conversation, but sometimes you feel like you don't want to have it, and that's okay too.
And when you're talking about like the heaviness of social media, do you mean like just the amount of just the heaviness of the information itself and how much is there, like as I'm scrolling through my feed? Or are you talking about like just the comments? Or
I think, you know, there's the death of patience, right? Like, it's like, I want it now. There's also, we are being assaulted with information. You're like, okay, but I thought it was this, or can we say that? Well, this person is calling themselves Black. This person's calling themselves African American. Can I say Black? Can I say African American? Is it right? Is everybody from Africa? Like, again, you're gonna tangle yourself because you're trying to be perfect, and you're not going to be, because some people will like it and some people won't.
Oh my God, that's another nod. Come on, guys. Like, she's nodding, the light's in the same part of her face, and like, come on. They're recycling that nod. Like, that's happening, right? I'm not just being delusional. That's happening, right? Press 1 in the chat if they're recycling her nod, if you believe that's happening. Also, again, they're like, oh, there's so much information. Is it Black or is it African American? First of all, like, I'll use them interchangeably here or there. But if I had to put a rule on it, like, Black is like American Black, right? Or, you know, how you describe people in like the UK or Canada, right? Were born there. Like, African Americans should be like people who immigrated from Africa. Like, that's how we talk about like Indian Americans or like Chinese Americans or whatever. Like, we do that hyphen, but like Black people born in America are just Black, like Black Americans maybe. Like, it's fine. And if you do polls of like actually like Black people, they don't care. Like, which one? Like, more or less. Like, that's the great like story that's being missed right now, is that there are 42 million Black people in the United States of America, somewhere around there. Most of them don't care about this stuff. They don't care about social justice. Like, you know, a lot of them are probably concerned about race issues and all that. But like, look in the Democratic Party, like who they voted for overwhelmingly, the more moderate Joe Biden, right? That's why Biden torched Bernie Sanders. Like, they don't want a revolution. They're moderating influence on the Democratic Party. They don't care about this. So, you know, it's ridiculous. Or I mean, some do, obviously, not all, but like, this woman is like a professor of like grievance studies, basically.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I guess that's as we're moving forward.
If you say conversation in this sentence, if you say as we're moving forward with this conversation, I'm going to lose my mind.
You know, this is going to be a lifelong journey. And I feel that a lot of the things that have sat well with me that actually make me feel like I'm connecting and progress is being made are not hashtagable, are not postable. And I'm noticing the discrepancy between the internet, which is starting, I think also because we're all just like in our homes, that is starting to feel more real than real life somehow. or that it's more important than real life, or like if it's not on there, then it doesn't, Pixar didn't happen, basically. But it also feels like this is not really the subject matter or the place to be being like, hey, I have a picture to prove that I did this, right?
Well,
We are over halfway into this video, and Brie Larson has come to the conclusion that the internet is not real life, although sometimes people get consumed by the internet, and that makes it feel like the conversations that are going on the internet are more important than they actually are. And that in reality, a lot of activism isn't, hashtagable. That when you actually have to fight for a cause, tweeting out a hashtag and getting all your friends to be like, oh, look, she tweeted out the hashtag, doesn't accomplish anything. Like, I can start a hashtag right now about the Uyghurs in China right now, like, shaved heads, blindfolded, loaded onto trains to labor camps to be sterilized, but that's not actually going to do anything. And she's so close to figuring out that this whole movement is based on like internet outrage mobs and is not reflective of reality. She's so close, but she's not going to get there. Also, somebody asked Brie Larson directly, Brie Larson, who is in Captain Marvel, which is a Marvel property, which is heavily reliant on Chinese income, about her opinion on the Uyghur Muslims being sent to concentration camps. Somebody asked Brie Larson about Hong Kong. See what she says. See her dodge that. See how all of a sudden being an activist and using your voice and risking everything never comes to fruition. Because like, this is the risk everything as long as you can say that I'm risking everything, but actually risk nothing generation of activism. Right? These people will not take a stand if it actually hurts them. Like, Brie Larson's doing this because it's what's expected of her and it's socially acceptable, and people are going to write puff pieces about how important this non-conversation is. But it's important to have the conversation.
It feels, and I'm going to use this as a teachable moment. It's like when white people especially, go to Africa and they want to go to the slummiest slum with the children that are suffering the most and hold them. Here I am in Africa with the sick children, and I am, dressed in my safari gear or whatever it is, and I've come up with the most eloquent caption that speaks to philanthropy and, how much I love it here in Africa. And, newsflash, we hate it. And when I say we, it's Black people, all of us.
Newsflash, we hate it. I mean, we're not going to go anywhere near the numbers of adopting kids out of third world countries and raising them in the West to be successful that you do. Like, nowhere near that. Like, go look at the adoption statistics. Go look at who's adopting in this country and from people abroad. But we hate it. Like, here in America, we don't like that. We don't like when you feed people and give them medicine overseas. Now, like, one of the things that people, and I've done a video on this in the past, people don't realize is that what Africa actually needs is not charity, it's private property rights. And again, if she was making that case, right, that foreign aid and like these raising money for people in Africa actually has unintentional negative consequences, or not just Africa and third world countries, that would be one thing. But she's like, we don't like the image of white people going out into the world and helping other people. Like, we don't like that. Like, Doctors Without Borders, we don't like that. Like, it doesn't look right. Like, it's just shameful, honestly. The Mormon Church, like, shipping food. The Mormon Church has a giant food shipping operation that goes around the world, and it runs 365 days a year. Like, she doesn't like that. And when she says we, she means Black people. Black people who, like, I'm sure, like, if you looked at her charitable donations and compared it to like a slightly upper middle class Republican, it would be nowhere close. But we don't like that. We want socialism globally, and you're doing charity and actually going out and trying to help people, like you putting the onus on yourself. That really looks bad. White savior, excuse me. Don't adopt kids. Let them starve. Virtue.
It's awful. It's performative. It is.
This is performative right now. We are 10 minutes in, and you haven't said anything.
It's so distasteful. And that's some of actually what's happening right now as it relates to all of the things that are happening. It's not necessary. It isn't. And the reality is, it's all of the things that you do behind closed doors that actually come to surface that get you in trouble, right? And so for all of these people that are being taken down, it's usually because of something that they didn't say on social media, that somebody's like, hey, is this you? Do you remember last week? Or do you remember at Trader Joe's? Or do you remember at, whatever place that I saw you when you acted like this? And so while you're worried about all of the things that you need to post to appear one way, it's how you actually walk in the world just as a regular person.
Yeah. And what you're saying is like, even what I started this conversation with being like, I have anxiety and I have fear. It's like, I'm afraid of being taught. I'm afraid of what?
I'm afraid of being educated. What a stupid white anxiety fear. Gosh, like, why do I have anxiety, guys? I should just be taught. Also, she's like, it's what happens. It's what you do in your real life that you get canceled for. And then she like shows the motion of you showing a phone of something you said last week. First of all, most of the reasons that people are getting attacked is stuff out of context or stuff that doesn't actually have any impact. So yeah, what you have here is two spoiled brats. One who's a famous Hollywood actress. One is an activist who basically sold a scam or participated in a scam where, based on the color of her skin, she gets to use the platform of somebody who actually has a platform in order to elevate themselves. And they're talking about like the low-level people that get their lives completely ruined based on nothing, like based on half an interaction in a video. Like, ridiculous. And they're like laughing about it.
That's exactly what you're talking about. There's just going to be so many teachable moments on the way to what this actually will be and what this can be.
Correct. And there are a lot of teachable moments happening for all of us in terms about how people want to be addressed. Here are my pronouns. Okay. 6 years ago, that wasn't a thing. But it's a thing now, right? And again, your intent may not be malicious, but somebody will correct you and say, actually, here's how I like to be addressed. And you're like, okay, noted. And
look, your personal pronoun is your name. If you come up to me with some like goofy pronoun or whatever that I've never heard and I don't know how to pronounce, and I like you, I might try. If I don't know you and you're trying to like bully me into speaking in some weird, like Marxist kind of way, I'm not going to do it. But I will ask you for your name and I'll just call you by your name. Like that's your personal pronoun. Like you don't get 79,000 pronouns. Like you get the standard ones that are visible, the ones that I could tell. And then you get your name. That's it. And if your name's too complicated to spell, I'll just call you by the first letter of your name. And if you're really going to be a jerk about it, I'm going to call you humanoid. So that's really it. But wow, 6 years ago, people didn't ask for the pronouns, and now you can go to jail for not using them. Isn't that progress?
Perhaps the next conversation, you're going to, rather than assume, you're going to say, how would you like to be addressed?
Nope. It's never going to happen. Ever, 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 ever. Just ask somebody what their name is. Don't be a dork.
It's not a bad thing. It's what is.
Also, if you have goofy pronouns that you prefer, the onus is on you. Like, I'm not going to go through every single engagement in my life. Like, I look at these two people. They're both women, right? As far as I can tell. With 99.997 certainty, if you go based on what you noticed, you're going to be fine. If you're that 0.03% that has something different, the onus is on you. Like, we don't make rules for the exemption. So yeah, I'm not ever going to ask this ever. Like, it's on you. And if you come at somebody like, oh, you're messed up for assuming, it's like, no, shut up. like, like, like I'm half Hispanic. When some people look at me, like depending on, you know, what season it is, how tan I am, they either assume I'm fully Hispanic or like fully white. It's never bothered me once in my entire life. I'll mention it if they ask me personally, but it's never bothered me. Now, if it did bother me and I wanted everybody to refer to me as a half Puerto Rican, half Irish man, the onus would be on me to go up to everybody and tell them that. Right? That's when you want special like treatment, when you want somebody to comply with something. And most of the time, if you do that, if you ask somebody, they'll probably do it. They'll try their best. But like the idea that we're gonna rewrite every interaction with a person is ridiculous. Like, you know, you figure it out on your own. Like, also, they as a singular is goofy.
Right. And to your point about people and how we evolve and how things change, if if you're going with the trend is going to go out of style.
If you're going with the trend is going to go out of style, as these guys are trendy activists. Now, I don't know what ad is about to play, but I'm going to mute it because whatever person is running ads, first of all, this is a monetized ad, like a monetized video, a very important, deep conversation about activism, but also
Do you so much.
give Brie Larson more money.
Gosh, I love talking to you so much.
Oh, I love talking to you so much. I mean, first 4 minutes is how important it is to talk to you. Next 4 minutes is how important it is to have these conversations and that feelings are important. And then the next 4 minutes is about stuff and things and nothing specific, but I love it. Oh, God, I probably shot this when I wasn't even talking to you and the editor cut it in at a random point, but there was no point where this fit in the entire video.
It's just like, I just feel like you also have this way of simplifying things that get really overly complicated, and I can speak on it because I do it myself. It's like, I'm like, oh, but this and this, and I don't want to hurt this person, and whatever, and it's like, I just remember the first time we talked, and you were like, golden rule, just treat other people how you'd like to be treated. The end. And it's like, oh, right.
I think we all do it, right?
If that was legit the only thing that they wanted, treat other people how you want to be treated, then we would have no problem. I want to be left alone. I leave most people alone. Like, these people have a problem with you. Like, you know, there's that old saying, and a lot of like YouTubers and like people in who talk about these issues always bring it up. They're like, you may not think you have a problem with social justice, but social justice will eventually have a problem with you and your thing. Like, they seek out people to bully into submission. They try to make everything political. So if it was treat others how you want to be treated, like, I wouldn't go around bullying random people on their own things that I don't care about. But that's what they do. Remember, there was this very famous like article of a woman who was like, guys, go buy the diverse comic books that you advocated for. Like, they've replaced almost every hero with like a diverse like knockoff version of that hero. And what people didn't realize is that the people who were complaining about comic books and superheroes and how they needed to be changed to fit our modern times, those people didn't read comic books, and they were never going to. They were complaining about a thing that they weren't the market for. So they ruined it for the people that actually liked it, and then they moved on. And what was even more absurd is they were complaining about Marvel Comics, which has had a black leading superhero, Black Panther, since the 60s. Black Panther's so old that the superhero predates the organization. Like, that's like, these people don't read comic books. They're not interested in the medium, but they want to torch it and make it into their image. Like, they don't care. It's like when they're like advocating for tearing down statues in your town. Like, they don't care about your town. They never visit your town. They think your town is disgusting because it's not a big city. But all of a sudden, they think that they should be the ones who decide what you have up in your town square, in your park. Like, a place that they'll never go A place that they think is like, oh, that's the sticks. I don't even care about that. So yeah, like, the comic book market is like guys, like, you know, little boys, like parents buy them for their kids, but it's really like guys like 35 and up, right? And we're like making comic books for these loud complaining people that are mostly like college age women who would never read a comic book in the first place. And then they're like, oh, why are sales tanking? We did all this diversity stuff. We got all these good press for this run. It's because these people never read comic books. Like, and by the way, I don't read comic books. This is coming from a guy who doesn't read comic books. And one of the reasons that comic books kind of like difficult to get into, especially if you're in the Marvel universe, is that their standard timeline, like the 616 universe, literally like is continuity that dates all the way back to the 60s. Like DC reboots their continuity every now and again to avoid this mess, but like, you know, I'm just not interested in comic books. But like, it's a complicated continuity thing to get into. Even like comic book guys, like Kevin Smith, he was like writing for Daredevil, like a very like famous run of Daredevil was written by Kevin Smith, and Kevin Smith was using characters in this run, and they let him do it because he's Kevin Smith. But they had been dead or gone from the comic books forever, but Kevin Smith didn't know that because he stopped reading comic books like 10 years before. So even people who are into comic books like can't follow all this continuity and all this. So the idea that random 20-year-old activists that look at a cover and are offended by it like should dictate what the characters are and then be brought on to write stories, these people who have no concept of story structure, is ridiculous. So yeah, social justice will have a problem with you. Like, it will find your thing and ruin it.
Right? Analysis paralysis. Like, if this, then that, but what about this? And okay, what about that person? That can't, your life cannot be fulfilled if you are striving to please people, because people generally are never satisfied. I think for most.
She just finished saying that if you hear some pronouns, like you should ask people what their pronouns are to please them. Now she's like, if you go around trying to please people, it's not going to work out for you because people are never satisfied. Which one is it?
For most people, the struggle is especially present in social media because it's like, I want to say the right things. To who? To people who don't actually know you. They don't know. Most of the people that engage on your social media are not people that you know. How do the people that you know feel about you? What conversations are you having with your friends?
Conversations. Here's a conversation that I had with my friend. I was moving him into an apartment, and I thought that the remodeled bathroom in his new apartment looked really nice. And we were determining where the furniture was going that we were assembling was going to be. That was the conversation. Also, some other stuff that I'm not going to repeat on air. So, yeah, that's what I talk about with my friends, like friend stuff. I also met his girlfriend, so I asked them, like, you know, how they met and all that. You want us, like everyone, actually, not just like us, to center you and your ill-defined problems in every aspect of our personal lives. Like, no. Like, why am I going to annoy my friends with pronoun nonsense? Like, you'll likely never encounter one of these dopes unless you're in college. If you're over 28, you'll never encounter like one of these pronoun people in like your normal everyday life unless you're working with, you know, children.
What conversations are you having with your colleagues?
It just kind of opened my eyes even more to the fact that like there's going to be blowback to this moment if the real work is not done, you know? I really feel that. And it soothes me in a way because it clarifies so much of like the direction that I'm moving in. It doesn't feel like it simplifies it because it's seeing and respecting the future rather than getting into the minutia of like, I don't know, an individual moment. And it's more about like recognizing that this is on me and my growth.
Yes.
And she's seeing the future, and she knows that you can't get bogged down with the individual moments that and something present, because the future is utopia, and you know it's going to totally work this time, guys. Like, we're definitely going to get there, and it's going to be amazing. And you don't need to focus on what's going on now. Like, that doesn't matter, because we're going to get there. And like the real work needs to put in for this conversation, because this topic is really important and it's a really important issue. And if we don't put in the work, then there's going to be blowback. But that's why we have to work, and that's why we don't focus on the here and there, even though we're talking about putting in the work, because the future's like right in front of us. And if we just need to get to that future, like we just need to reach out and touch that future, because there's going to be blowback if we focus on the now, what we're doing now. But we need to put in the work now so we can get into that future, because I can see that future is just right ahead of me and I can see it. And we just need to get there, and we need to have this conversation. And I'm glad we're having this conversation, and we're best friends. I forgot to tell you that. Like, wow, it's just amazing. This conversation is so interesting and compelling. I really hope my editor plays music throughout the entirety of this video, because it's so compelling and interesting and amazing and elegant and beautiful. Like, wow. Didn't feel like I said a lot of things there. I know a lot of words came out of my face, but I didn't really say anything. And that's this entire video.
Recognizing, to the point that you made earlier, that this is ongoing.
What point did she make earlier? Like, she didn't say anything. This is ongoing. You keep saying this and that and the work and blah, blah, blah. Like, define what your goal is. Like, here's the problem. Is once these movements actually have a goal, like policy goal, or once they actually identify a legitimate problem, they're vulnerable to criticism. So once they say this is a problem, you could actually look into the thing that is this, and then argue with it, dispute it, like, check if it's a problem, maybe agree with it. But they never do that. They're just like, this is important and we need to do this. And wow, the work is so much work, but like the future is so beautiful. I can see it. Can't you see it?
This is not a trend. This is not, again, and if you sign up for the moment, then you're going to.
It is quite literally a trend. Every corporation is flying these issues right now. Every single one of them. Every government is doing it. Politicians are bowing to it. Like, they're painting the logos of this on street corners. It's literally a trend. People are selling merchandise for this trend. Like, it is the definition of a trend.
Going to be held accountable to the moment, as opposed to living, learning, improving every single day. That's what you should do. I think as humans, we should strive to do.
Yeah, and like we've been saying, it's like there isn't, and it's what I've been.
Like we've been saying, absolutely nothing. You've said nothing throughout this whole video. This is like cult stuff, but it's like boring cult stuff. Like, oh, you have to live in the moment and you have to improve every single day. It's like, that's cult talk. Like, it's just not saying this. Somebody says, please stop this. It's getting me excited. Like, nothing is going on in this video. It's like 14 minutes in, she said nothing. Like, I better hear this conversation in the last 3 minutes and 30 seconds of this video.
It's what I've known from years through conversations, and also through this period.
Conversation is what I've known through years of conversations.
Of time of reading a lot. I mean, the ways that the language that different people use when we're talking about this, that they feel comfortable identifying with themselves, or what they feel is appropriate conversation or not.
Conversation. My name is Brie Larson, and I like to say the word conversation. Look, it's the title. Very important. Conversation. What a conversation. The words that people use in their conversations. And I read about their conversations. That's how interested in conversation I am. It's just to read it. Like, what's conversation? Somebody said, hold on. Let's see. Who says that? This is like, I can't even, Did you hear Sean say the same thing I'm saying? Somebody said, notice me, senpai. I'm like looking for their message. Somebody's like, who is Brie Larson and why are you making her relevant? Dude, like, Brie Larson is a famous actress. Like, I'm not making her relevant. Like, let's be honest. Like, relax. But yeah, I was gonna highlight the message that said "Notice me, senpai," but I lost it. So, oh well.
It varies so much, and so once again, just being able to talk with you and have our dance, which is different from the dance I have with many other people in conversations, and share that.
conversation. See, I think she keeps saying conversation, but in reality, she's being conned. So it's only the first syllable of this word. Yeah, the dance that I'm having. Like, it's so different from all the other conversations I'm having. It's not just you. Like, I've learned so much from you in the 4 days since we did this, and my producer told me that I need to have you on but not say anything. But like, the amount of conversations that I had that have been so conversational, really conversation, like conversation.
And say, hey, this is one version of how it can go, I think is also potentially helpful. I mean, it's a little message in a bottle out there.
I think you're exactly right, is that it's differing perspectives. Each interaction is going to be different, even for us. Like, we might have a conversation a week from now, and I might be going through something, or you would have gone through something, or I have a breakthrough, or you have a breakthrough, and then you put in different voices, and there might be just a nugget that happens, in that conversation. Or it might be so revealing or so helpful to somebody that's watching on your platform. So I want to commend you for this. I don't want you to lose sight of the fact that this is happening. This doesn't promote you. This is not to say, check out my next book, I'm going to be in this movie, right? Which is what a lot of people in your space are doing. And that's not a knock against them. It's the nature of who they have to be for the.
This is literally promoting her. It's on a channel. Like, let's see if I can get this name right of this channel. This channel is called Brie Larson. Oops. Oh no, I clicked it. Oh no, I ruined it. Oh no, I ruined the amazing conversation.
Do you remember places?
And we have ads. God, look at how many ads she has. Oh my God, more ads. Oh, I totally butchered this. Oh my God. So, oh my God, Brie, with your mid rolls, you're mid rolling me to death. Like, that's the one thing she actually has down from like a professional YouTuber. Okay, here we go. Is this where I was? Let's find out.
What you should do. I think as humans, we should strive to do.
Yeah, and like we've been saying, it's like there isn't, and it's what I've been.
This is not to say, check out my next book, I'm going to
be this is about where we were.
This movie, right? Which is what a lot of people in your space are doing, and that's not a knock against them. It's the nature of who they have to be for the business that they're in. So the fact that you're doing this is incredible.
No,
you
it isn't.
You don't have to. You know what I mean? You don't owe that to anybody.
This is literally borderline required to be an actress in Hollywood. Is to be incredibly woke and dopey. Like, everything that she said is false.
Well, yeah, I do.
Oh, I do have to do it. See, that was almost a slip of logic, but she's not saying I have to do this for Hollywood because it will boost my career because my agent told me to do this. What she's actually saying is that I do have to do it because I'm morally compelled to do this. This is who I am. And honestly, it's stunning and brave of me. Somebody just wrote that in the chat. Stunning and brave of me to do this, to do the most socially acceptable thing possible, to risk nothing and pretend it's costing you potentially everything. Like, she has to do that. She's Brie Larson. She's Captain Marvel. And that's something that she has to deal with both on and off the screen. And sometimes she feels anxious. Sometimes she feels a little bit of trepidation going into these conversations, but she has to have these conversations because that's what Brie Larson does. She has the tough conversations. She has to. She's laughing about it. Like, she's laughing. Meanwhile, she's literally laughing in your dumb face for watching this far into the video. She's laughing at me personally.
And I've learned so much from you just in this short time that we've spent time together. I mean, I just find you so inspiring, and every time we talk, there's so much, but usually like one thing that really just sticks in my head, and I really appreciate that. And
can she name the thing? Will Miss Larson, the hero of this story, name the thing that sticks in her head? Will we get any substance whatsoever? We are now, let's see, 16:13 into a 17:35 video. Will she name the thing? Give me a 1 for she will not name the thing, a 2 for she will name the thing. What do you got? What do you got, guys? 1 for she'll name the thing, or 1 for, she'll not name the thing, 2 for she'll name the thing. Yeah, okay. So everybody thinks she's just going to say the one thing that's stuck in her conversation. And of course, we have one guy that's always writing 69. I appreciate that.
And I appreciate you taking the time to answer the phone when I call and to listen to me when I talk, even if there may be times when you're like, this is not mine. I appreciate that too, because it's part of the dance and it's part of building the bridge.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been...
Wait, did they finally cut off the music and start playing crickets in the background? Is that what's happening? Oh, by the way, she did not name the thing, unsurprisingly to all of us.
Great. What do you have planned for the rest of the day?
I'm going to go in my garden.
Ooh,
Oh,
excellent.
Pre's garden. Remember the lettuce guys from her first video? She has beautiful lettuce.
What are you going to do once we hang up?
I'm going to go jump in the pool.
Yes. Okay, you enjoy and we'll talk soon. Thank you so much.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay, well, that was it. Thank you so much for checking it out. Hope it inspired you in some way.
Inspired me. I hope it inspired you. Were you inspired by that conversation, guys? Were you inspired by that conversation? You know what inspired me? And by inspired me, I mean the exact opposite. Oh, somebody says keep watching. Yeah, no, I'm gonna make it through. I'll play this video. No, I got to show you what inspired me. You know what inspired me? The fact that she has all these mid-rolls and like premium ads and 80,000 viewers despite being a mainstream celebrity and this video having nothing. This inspired me to put less work into my content. Because apparently if you put less work and just say the word conversation a bunch of times, like you can make it. 311,000 subscribers, guys. Brie Larson. Promoted by every mainstream outlet.
Comment if you liked the conversation. We'd love to know what other things, I'm a very curious person, and what other conversations.
Conversations. Have a conversation with somebody who disagrees with you. Platform somebody that is not existing on your channel to build up you as a good person.
I can have that would be educational and inspiring to you. Okay, much love. Bye.
I'm so inspired. Like they know this is like garbage content. That's why they're running music throughout the entirety of it. Like Jesus. You don't have channel points for this channel? Debate Brie. Devin Tracy versus Brie. Oh my god. I mean, look, you guys can comment that she's never gonna have me on. Can you imagine Brie Larson have me on and I have to explain crime statistics to her or something like that? Like how badly that would go for the rest of her life. They'd be like, Brie Larson platformed this animal. Jesus Christ. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty crazy, man. Like, saying nothing for that long. Like, nothing was said in that conversation. That's the most amazing thing about it. It's just nothing of substance was ever put forward. Nothing compelling, nothing interesting, nothing. Like, it wasn't even, like, entertaining to hate watch. Like, well, actually it was. I'm not even going to lie. Like, once I started noticing, I think I noticed in the first 2 sentences how many times they said a conversation, and they just kept going. And, like, the total lack of awareness to say, I hope you found this conversation inspiring, where we talked about having conversations and how sometimes conversations are hard, and sometimes you don't want to have conversations, but sometimes you do want to have conversations. And humans are people with feelings. Like, just terrible.